Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. The car I am driving here today is Genesis GV60. It's really hard to get a test driver here in Korea, given this car is awaited by a lot of people. And if you're looking for the review about the exterior of the car, including in the interior, and this is actually limited to the performance model, which is the model that I am driving today. So this has dual motors, two motors, one on the front, one on the back, delivers the maximum power. It is slightly under 500 horsepower with this boost button, and at a push of the boost button, regardless of which drive mode that you're in, just push it. Oh, this car is just insanely fast. How fast? It reminds me of being behind a supercar for the first time in my life. I'm not exaggerating. This sure is over 400 horsepower and also feels definitely like those 500 horsepower with this boost button, and this car being all-wheel drive. It just sends the car right away. You can choose your drive modes right here. On the left, a sport, and even on the sport, the car just responds like very direct. I'll tap on the accelerator and see what happens. And just look at that. It's popping out at the tap of my accelerator, just like that. I'm currently actually driving GV80 as well. Essentially, the layout here is the same. The lever is sitting below this dial right here, where you control other features within the monitor here, and also the back, the home and menu button here, they are all identical. You can just control everything at your fingertips, just like that. And also there's an auto hold, of course. Looking at the rear view mirror, that I can see the spoiler running through right in the middle. There's the upper portion, 1/3 about that much of the portion that's on the top at the bottom of the spoiler, but there's actually like a whole one thick bar running across in the middle of your rear view mirror. Well, it doesn't block your view right in the middle, but rather it sits about like 1/3 to the bottom, so I don't think it's going to bother you all that much. This GV60 has loaded option with dual motors, all-wheel drive, and also includes the digital side mirror, left and right, high gloss finished in black. So except for that, I believe it's the same thing that we see on Ioniq 5. I am currently in sport mode, so I hear more of this artificial sound coming off from the car. And let's go into echo. And of course, there is regen brakes on this GV60 as well, that you can control up to level 0, having nearly nothing on the regen brake. And level 1 is about the same kind of an engine brake that we get from the internal combustion engine. You know, kind of the resistance that you get when you take off the foot off the accelerator. Going with the level 2, it gets a little more stronger, and regen level 3 is the strongest. And go up one more time at max, the I-pedal, or other brands call it one pedal drive. So I-pedal mode comes on, and what it does is that you can drive with the accelerator only. So all you have to do is take your foot off the accelerator and it will start braking. It really relieves a lot of stress on your foot, not only your foot but the leg, probably the lower body, and just the driving. You don't have to switch your leg left to right from the brake to the accelerator. Just keep your foot on the accelerator pedal, that's it. Let it go to slow down and brake, and just tap on it again to accelerate. Regardless of the mode that you're in, put on the boost mode and wow. Whew. Just be ready when you are hitting the boost button, because this is no joke. As much as this car provides the power going forward, all the sports cars and supercars, hypercars, they have relevant braking performance as well. The car needs to stop better than accelerate for safety and a lot of many reasons. If you're not familiar with panic braking the car, or slamming down on the foot brake to the maximum where the ABS is about to engage, you have to have the experience of that before you fully enjoy the boost button, because the car is going to shoot out so fast and so quick. You're going to need a lot of braking force for that. By any chance, if you don't know what I mean by nearly about the point where the ABS engages, make sure you go into safe, secured, wide parking lot area and just slam on the brake as hard as you can. Feel it to yourself that when and how the ABS will engage. You need to know what your brakes are capable of, and so that way you can stop the car at a distance that you want the car to stop. So I've driven all-wheel drive dual motor EV6, and comparing that to GV60, I can feel right away that this car is more agile, more nimble, and this is the word that Hyundai uses with Kona. I do get the feeling of that like tight, small SUV, if not CUV, that's capable of performance, which is Kona N. Again, go check that video out if you haven't. That car's also got performance. I really feel like I am behind the wheels of that Kona N kind of a feeling, because it also has the boost button, which is nearly the same thing as the N grain shift that Hyundai N brands have, giving the extra power. Just so you see over there, you see that orange and red line right there, and that is something that I have seen from Ioniq 5 as well. But what that is if you make a lane change, let me just show it to you. If the car is actually inside within that red and orange, that means if you make a lane change to your right, you're gonna crash into them. So that's like a little guideline showing you what space you have. Of course, it applies both left and right. It does the same thing for the left as well. So make sure the cars are not within this orange and red bars. There are different sounds and different modes for GV60. So it's going to show you, the driving distance left, pretty much a very self-explanatory. It's very direct and intuitive. Change the driver assistance, how things work. Just go up here, the lights, and then you can configure the light settings here. And same goes for the inside. And let's check this out. You go inside. Oh, just look at that. It's going to show you everything about the inside with the head-up display, everything here. So very direct, intuitive. Same goes for the door and trunk as well. So you can control the ambient lights, just everything about this car. This car only supports the USB cabled Apple and Android Auto. There is no wireless for that yet. However, the takeaway is that it provides the music streaming. So depending on which country you're in, it might differ, but it will support most of the major music streaming websites and sites. The whole graphics here is GV60 focused. It's personalized and customized into GV60. You're not just going to see a random Genesis car, but you will actually see GV60 just like that. So going to the setup, sound, and there's active sound, advanced settings, and there is this futuristic G-engine. So G-engine is probably the engine sounds from Genesis, other internal combustion engine Genesis, and the E motor. But let's get started with the futuristic. I've tested out how many times I can continue on using this boost mode. Unlike other high performance kind of a boost button on internal combustion engine cars, there is not necessarily limitations. I actually clocked up to 6 times consecutive going without brake, and then this car would just give me the boost mode on and on. I have a feeling that when the car checks out that the battery are overheated or if it needs cool down, then that's where when the limitations will kick in. But on a regular city drives on places like these, you could just easily go and drive boost up to like 6-7 times, no problem. So I want to give you the sound. Futuristic. So this is definitely one of those sounds that I heard from EV6 with the name of like Cyber. It reminds me of that. Again, let me know which one is your favorite. This is Futuristic, and this is G-eigine, so probably the Genesis. Doesn't really remind me of GV80 because I'm driving GV80 right now, 3.5 turbo model. I wouldn't really say that this is the G80 either, but sure does sound like internal combustion engine cars. But given that there is no transmission on this GV60, I don't hear that rev going up and down in between the transmission and shifts. The thing is, until you get used to this spheres and these buttons, you see my hand just going back and forth, up and down, like just hesitating which one to turn. Of course, this is not gonna do anything if I change it on, except for neutral, because it has all the fail-safe over there. Custom mode, where you can customize the sounds according to your needs and wants. Let's actually turn it off. So this is off. We'll be hearing most of the generic sound from GV60 right now. Let's get into map. And again, I want to have some fun. I am not faking it, and I've said this before on EV6, but this is no match to EV6 whatsoever. Much more responsive. It just shoots the car out. The car like is ready to, I feel the jump on this car. I'm not going to accelerate this time. All right, we need to stop. But let me hit the boost. And you see this graphics right here? I hope this GoPro is catching it, but it like gives you into like that kind of a warp hole. You know, you like zoom into that place. With the GV60, definitely this car is about performance. Genesis wants you to have fun with this car. Genesis GV60 doesn't necessarily follow through the traditional Genesis design on the exterior that they have been carrying out with the bold character line that runs throughout. However, there's a lot of circular curvy design that's been used. Despite GV60 being full EV, it still has the radiator grille, reminiscent of internal combustion engine cars, and there's also a lot of circles within the interior as well. The circle here with the door handle, circle here for the mirrors, and of course everywhere on the steering wheel, the buttons, boost buttons. You know, the EV6, they have like a kind of a triangle shape right here, so the button shapes can get really creative, but you know, GV60 has all circles here and there. Of course, circle everything. And we have what right here? Sphere. We have a crystal sphere right here. And this is one fancy thing. What do you guys think about this one? I like it a lot. This is uniquely GV60 thus far. We don't see it anywhere else. There are cup holders. I love the key fob right here. Check it out. Such an amazing design that they have. A typical Genesis thing that we see from the ventilator, the controllers here, heated seat, ventilated seats, and the driver only climate control as well. What do you guys think about this AR navigation system? Of course, you can choose to have the good old 2D and 3D. 2D like so, heading up. Again, one more thing from the head-up display that I see right here, instead of augmented reality HUD, AR HUD that Hyundai has introduced first on Ioniq 5, they reverted back to the just good old HUD. They probably did not want to test the water that much with the Genesis customers about the AR HUD just yet. I've mentioned this also on my Ioniq 5 drives, but it gets you really dizzy. I didn't have the time to get used to that car for that long, so probably that's why. But again, they reverted back to the good old HUD, not an AR, just the regular ones. So the wheelbase on this GV60 is 2900 millimeters. It's same as EV6, 100 millimeters shorter than Ioniq 5. It really feels like this is much more agile and nimble than EV6. And again, just the boost mode. You guys hear that? It will spins when you even had the speed. Hey, you guys hear that? And this car has 21-inch wheels. By no means does this car have a small wheel and too much power that it will create the wheel spin. No, it has 21-inch wheels. But it still slides the car like that. All right, so I don't have that much time, unfortunately, as always. So there's the parking for the same surround view that we are used to. And also don't forget about those cameras. A little more of the Ioniq 5 scent here as well, with this drawer type glove box, much smaller than Ioniq 5, but it is the glove box. This right here, you can actually turn around, take it out, and you can put a diffuser in here. So that's matching the design with this mirror adjuster right here on the left. And there is also a hidden compartment right here for your sunglasses. So unlike Ioniq 5, the center console doesn't move front and back, so it's not an island type, but it's fixed. And as for the lane keeping assist, you know, it works flawlessly. You can have the HDA on, control the distance, and I can feel that the HDA, the buttons are switched compared to that of the GV80. The GV80 had all this HDA thing on the right and music on the left, but GV60 has it the opposite. And this, ooh, don't want to say it, but I've seen it from Mercedes-Benz. So you can toggle through different information and drive modes here, and shows you the tire pressure, the navigation, the HDA system, as well as the augmented reality navigation. This is quite handy. And there's of course the HUD as well. So there's a lot of information shown on this 12.3 monitor left and right. But however, unlike EV6 or Sportage that we have seen, this GV60 does not get the curved display. It gets like this V-shaped kind of monitor. However, it's a giant screen as well, 12.3 both left and right, so you can't really complain about that. All right, let's do it in the exact order. Stop the car, brake pedal. The drive mode is in sport. ECS turned off level 2. And pedal shifters.